When I saw the name of the episode, my first thought was of my favorite superhero. Well, favorite in the comics, not so much in the show.
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing
Episode 10 of the Orville, Firestorm. And the Orville is going strong and really pushing the edge here. In fact, they might as well have had a quick guest appearance by Pennywise. And, well, they kind of did. But as we warp ahead, I would like to point out that as much as this is my favorite sci-fi show, it's also one that I've got some both good and bad news to unpack for you. Specifically, yes, it has been guaranteed a season 2. Yay! I'm very glad to hear that. Unfortunately, in order to guarantee it, they cut short this season. So instead of getting 12 episodes, we're only going to get 11. And that's kind of annoying because, well, I'm really loving the show and want to see more of it. They did say they would move the episode to the beginning of next season, and if that's a cliffhanger, that's kind of cool. Tonight's episode, however, is an Alara episode. And let me just say, when she says run, you run, because that means it's really scary. Alright, for those of you that don't know what I'm doing here, I like to examine stories. I like to pull them apart, the hows and the whys. And if you're interested in that, join our little community here by subscribing, leaving a comment, or helping share and move this. I'm trying to build myself to 100 subscribers, and at this time we're at 72. Now, before we get into the episode itself, there was a little bit of commentary back and forth in the comments last week about whether this was a standalone episode or a true builder episode. And last week's episode, as much as there was a lot of comedy to it, I think built the relationship a little bit more, especially between our captain and first officer. And any chance of them getting back together again is definitely being increased by the fact that they might have been under chemical duress when she cheated. But okay. As much as that was funny, tonight's episode wasn't that funny. It was still a comedy, but it was a scary one. And I'd like to unpack it and take a look at all of the little things they did to poor old Alara. Before we get started, though, let's throw this up there.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time.
For those of you that don't get the It reference, Pennywise the clown, was also a giant extraterrestrial creature that was some sort of giant space spider. And, well, considering what Alara went through, it pretty much is exactly what it says on the tin. He was a giant fear monster that turned into your biggest fears. And as we saw in the episode, she has some fears of her own. But the fire isn't really the fear I want to focus on. Because if you were paying attention with her parents, which, by the way, that was the Robert Picardo guest appearance. I was expecting more, but I don't know why I was. But that was pretty cool. But either way, her fear isn't just of fire, although justifiably everything dies if you burn it. Her fear is one of failure, letting people down. And her parents weren't helping when they were all like, well, you know, you're mentally insufficient. But at the end of the day, she's tough, she's strong, she's fast, and she's a go-getter. But she wants to protect people. That's what makes her an awesome head of security. But it's also what makes it so easy to get inside her head. Because what she fears most is not being good enough for her job. But like I said in my review of it goes after children. And there's a very good reason for that. Because it's easy to shapeshift into the villain in a child's mind, the fear of a child. But what do you shapeshift into for an adult? The fear of not making your mortgage? The fear of the ever-increasing amount of pressure on you as slowly and slowly you don't have enough money and you realize that everything is going down and you're almost 40 years old without a girlfriend? Oh, maybe that's just me. Okay. But of course, our chief of security was the real test of this. And the fact that it was all a training simulation. Well, sort of. It was all a psychological exam. It reminds me very much of a Next Generation episode called Ship in a Bottle, which is also how they referred to episodes where you didn't leave the ship. But in that one, it was Dr. Crusher who was stuck in her own mind. And this time, it was stuck in the holodeck, the simulation suite, I think. But from clowns to falling to dark spaces to the ship being destroyed by lightning fields, and my personal favorite, what happens if the only person on the ship who's as capable as you at combat turned against you? What if you had to fight someone your equal, someone that had all of your advantages taken away? And you know what? She came through with flying colors. I agree with the captain. If ever there was a time to say that she is definitely worthy of being chief of security, this is it. But those are my thoughts. What did you think? Did you think it was a good way to influence the fears? Was it a good way to test for fears? And more importantly, do you think that it's something that we're going to see again? Because these memory wipes and types of simulations definitely are the thing that could lead to whole sets of episodes. But for now, I'd like to thank you guys because of all those likes and shares that you guys have been giving me, and of course all of you that have clicked that subscribe button, my channel is taking off in a whole new way. I'd like to thank you all for joining the community and walking with me through the heart of the Orville as we examine the whys and the hows of these stories. And let's be honest, we could probably spend an entire week just dissecting things that I missed in these episodes. So hopefully, you'll join me back here next week. But for now, I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.